All right. Good Friday morning, bitches. I hope you're having a good start to your Friday. I do love me a little weekend. Simphiwe Mtatwa is here, and she's ready for the weekend too, aren't you, Sims?
I am so ready. It's a new month, new me. You know, we're voting. You know,
Yeah, no,
new things are happening.
You look like you're ready for a husband. That's it.
Sir, my left hand is empty, sir.
I'm gonna find you something this month. This is your month.
I mean, in
It's
the
your
words
month
of
to shine.
Beyonce, if you like it, put a ring on it. So.
Right, but you got to find. I mean, your standards are quite high. So just in case anybody who's never seen this show before, you don't know that Simphiwe has like a list for her birthday of gifts that she wants. She has a list of qualities she wants in a man.
Yes,
it's impossible. It's like if this person existed, everyone would want to marry him. Okay, but you never know.
He's out there.
Yeah,
you know, I exist, Gareth. So that gives me hope that one day, someday, I will meet the one. And all I'm saying is if you have a couple of millions in your bank account, you start looking very attractive.
Some few millions. So you're saying you would be prepared to sacrifice good looks for a nice fat bank account?
I've said it before. There's no ugly billionaire. There's none. I'm sorry. They all look very handsome, you know, with their billies, their millies, and
you're just very superficial, and I love that you own it.
Yes,
beautiful.
Gareth, you know,
nothing wrong with that.
What makes the world go round? Money. So let me also be happy and cry in a Bentley.
Well, for anyone who missed yesterday, you missed the chance to hear all the reasons why you should vote for the ANC. We had a great show yesterday on the Burning Platform. Pumi and I. We met with Lesejo from the ANC. He's the spokesperson there, and he was very entertaining. Yeah. Whether he persuaded anyone to actually vote ANC, angas, but I mean, there was a lot of not answering questions that happened.
Yeah, Gareth, as I said, I think it's time to invent a drinking game where every time the politicians use the word apartheid, we just take a shot, you know, like fellow comrades, you know, remember in apartheid, you know, and let's see how sober we can
you'll be finished. I think you suggested this to me yesterday. I said to you, you'll be finished in like 5 minutes flat. But there's another one that they like now when it comes to coalition politics, which he used about 4 times in the interview.
You see?
And he said, these coalitions, this fruit salad. So basically, if you're in a coalition government, I have bad news for you. The ANC think you're just a fruit salad.
Get fruit salad, Bazek. So yeah, those are the 2 words.
That's all you are.
And those will be our drinking game. Every time fruit salad, apartheid, just take a shot and be happy, guys.
Well, we have a lot to do today, and we've got plenty to talk about. Ben will be joining us a little later with Super Bets for a bit of an update on what's going to be happening this weekend in sport. Plus, you get a chance for you to win with them. If you can predict a European champion, you could win 40,000 rand.
Whoop, whoop. Okay, now you're talking about
language. I thought that would get your attention. A little later on, we'll be meeting someone called Josh Muller, who is a holistic touch therapist. Now, that sounds like bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But wait till you hear. He does something called trauma counseling. He does something called tantric touch. He does something called body work and breath work. And all of this stuff might seem like it's for a woo-woo hippie who'd be wearing like tie-dye clothes, but he used to be a cage fighter.
Oh.
So, cage fighter to therapist type, you know?
So
quite
you're doing
lot.
No, more.
Today, you're doing all of it.
Okay.
Today, there's no messing around.
Right.
So we'll find out all about that. He has an aversion to psychiatry. He uses psychedelics, and he doesn't like woke ideology. So I think we're going to get on quite well.
Okay.
Very, very different kind of human being. All right. And then Simphiwe has a very irritating quiz for us as well. Now, I mean, I don't mind a quiz because usually a quiz is a chance for you to like test your knowledge. But no, Simphiwe has convinced me that this is the most irritating quiz I'll ever do. So we'll find out.
I hope you're ready for it, Gareth. I have a few questions for you.
I'm good.
You know,
I'm good. I'm
also
ready to
for the
go.
comment section. I hope you guys are ready. Try answer, but I won't give you guys too long. It'll be like a very short one.
Now, after an insanely busy weekend last weekend, I have nothing planned
Ooh,
for this one. And you know what? It's getting cold now. So
being
I want to
in bed.
get ready
Okay.
for winter. There's a whole lot of stuff around the house. I want to start like getting winter prepared, like blankets and stuff. Want to make sure that I got enough of that. Want to make sure that I've got firewood for the fires. I'm going to be prepping for winter like a bear that's about to go into hibernation.
That sounds like fun, Gareth.
I'm ready.
Rather you than me. I'm going to be out with the girls once again. Last week we did like bottomless mimosas.
Oh, very good.
So yeah, this week we have something. We said we're going to do something. I don't know what it is, but we're definitely doing something.
Bottomless something else.
I hope so.
Why stop at the mimosas? Just keep going.
So yeah.
Oh, yes. All right. So while we're talking about bears, would you rather be trapped? And this is a question you asked. Would you rather be trapped in the woods with a bear or a strange man? How strange is the man? Because, listen, I'm not in favor of either of those options.
Yes.
I think if you're in the woods and there's a strange man and a bear, you either try to kill them both or you try to get the hell away from them both. I don't think either of them is a good idea. I think the man might be more dangerous.
That is very true.
Well, because, with humans, you don't know their motives. With a bear, its motive is to kill you and possibly do you huge damage. I don't know if it'll eat you, but it'll definitely do you damage. With the man, it might be much more scary.
Yep.
Might be a complete psychopath. Might hunt you for sport. Might be collecting trophies.
Oh.
You never know, right?
Yes.
So who's your choice in this one, and why do you ask?
So it was a question that was like asked on social media and it got trending, and it was very obvious. 90% of the women said, I'd rather be in the woods with a bear. And I also agree. I think a bear...
What percentage?
Like basically 90%.
Okay.
Of women were like, I'd rather be in the woods with a bear. And It makes sense. Like a bear, yes, it's dangerous. It's big. But you can also shoo it away. You can... I wouldn't say run away from it, but like... It does. I've seen videos.
Shoo it away. Okay, so we don't. When you
say it like that,
okay. We don't have bears in South Africa, thank God, because they are quite fucking crazy. Okay.
Yes.
They're now. I can't remember which one it is. Either the black bear or the grizzly. One of the two is very aggressive.
Yes.
So again, it would depend on the bear. It depends on the man, but it's a poor reflection on us as men. That 90% of the women asked would rather take their chances with a wild carnivore than with us.
A man, a random stranger.
Jeez.
Whether he's a football player, whether he's a good guy, whether he's been in prison.
That's very bad.
Whether he's your dad. Bad. We all have been like...
What if your dad's a strange man? Then yeah, sure.
Well, someone's dad is in the woods.
Sure.
So it's one of those, which, I mean, hopefully this will make men do better. I hope that this will be a wake-up call for some men to just start doing better, guys.
Well, I'm very embarrassed about the fact that women would all choose the bear. But you know what, ladies, if that's your choice, I mean, you could always do what someone in the comments suggested here, which I think is probably the best solution of all, is try to feed the man to the bear somehow.
You?
Then you...
Okay.
Nikki says, a bear and the man, you feed the man to the bear and you're safe. Look, you know what they say, right? If you and 3 other people are in a lion cage and the lion's running towards you, you just have to be the fastest.
Yes.
Because if the other 2 are slower than you, then they'll get eaten, not you.
Yes.
That's all. You don't have to be Usain Bolt fast. You just have to be faster than them.
The next person.
Yeah,
that's
right.
it.
So as long as you're faster than them, everything is good. Carl DeSantis says, I watched the Eric Weinstein interview yesterday. Do you even realize how lucky you are, Gareth? It was great. More of that, please. Well, I promise you, one of the things that we're going to be doing this year, and I've always delivered. In 10 years, I haven't lied to you about what we're going to do and where we're going to go. We're going to be doing a bunch of new stuff here at The Real Network. We're going to be doing a bunch of new stuff at the podcast party. It's all going to be part of a much bigger plan of kind of raising the level of both entertainment and information and inspiration as we go. So stick around. I promise you I'll make it worth your while. I'm not going to be bringing dumbasses in to talk to them. And we're going to make sure that every single show that we launch here on the Real Network, and we've just begun. I mean, we're like a month and a week into this. There's going to be a lot of exciting stuff on the way. So I don't want to give away too much, but I promise you, we're just scratching the surface with all of this new stuff that you see around us. We're going to link up with Ben today for the first time. He'll be up on the screen behind us here, which is going to be very exciting. We haven't done that yet. We've got a whole bunch of new equipment arriving over the next few days. It's very exciting. I mean, Marvin, who's live directing the show this morning and has been since we started. Poor man, he hasn't slept at all.
Oh, he's not used to the 5 a.m.
And Annie has to deal with James. Can you imagine?
Oof.
Marvin has, he's like a kid with, all he does is send me lists of stuff he wants, and we just have to pay and pay and pay and pay.
You know, it's been the fun part. I've been here for the unboxing.
Oh, you've been here for the, right. So you get to have the fun part. You know what? I'm here for the paying. Sweet Jesus.
Yeah, that's the fun
Marv,
part. When you spend other people's money.
Yeah, Marv, I want you to put up a screen in our office that just shows total expenditure so far on the studio, all right? And then I can cry every time I come in the morning. All right, so looking at all this stuff, polar bears will eat you. They don't care. Okay, but you have to go far to the north to get the polar bears. And really, as long as it's warm-ish, I don't think you're going to find them. Carl says, the bear-man conundrum. If the woman is fat, she must fear the bear. If the woman is attractive, she must fear the man. There's a nuance to this. Stay fat, ladies. So if you want the bear, stay fat. That's good advice.
Okay.
Right,
Never thought of it like that, you know?
Rebellious Ruth says, excellent, wishing the Real Network lots of success. And Marvin says, I'll send you an invoice for the screen. Yeah, you see, there he is. There's Marvin. God damn it. Listen, Marvin used to produce Live Amp.
Yes.
And he's a very, very experienced and brilliant TV producer and director. So the guy knows his shit. He's costing us a fortune.
I love it. He's my kind of person.
I know, I like him too.
You know, he has expensive taste.
I'm loving him.
The equipment, and I'm like,
yeah, it's great.
Go.
Yeah, keep telling me.
So great job, Marv. Great job.
I say sipping the coffee. All right. Yes, please, Gareth. No 15-minute jackass interviews, just as that musician everyone forgot about. You know, I'm trying to think of like the worst people we've ever interviewed. I had this thought the other day, and I really struggled because, sure, in the beginning when we were filling airtime, you know, we had like 5 days a week for 3 hours a day of solid talk. So there were a couple of like slobs who slipped through the cracks. Some really shitty ones, but I don't remember them.
That's good.
I have no capacity, as you know, Simphiwe, for remembering bad things. So what happens to me is, as soon as something horrible happens, I take like 5-10 minutes to process it, and then I'm like, hey, what's up? And you're like, what's wrong with you? We just had a fight. And I go, huh? So same goes with boring interviews. If I interview someone really, really boring or stupid, the audience will have to remind me that it even happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
So
I
there
think
we go.
that's very good. But on that note, Gareth, I think not everyone deserves to have a mic.
Oh, yes. I saw you wanted to bring this up. So who are we anti at the moment? Who did you find that shouldn't have a podcast? Because there are a lot.
I mean, elections are coming up.
Oh.
And I was on the streets of TikTok, and boom, shaka boom, I'm seeing a clip of Mpho Dagada interviewing some celebrity. And I'm just like, wait. Let's do more research, you know?
Did we have Mpho Dagada in the studio the other day?
Yes, we did. Is he not trying to get our votes? I find his YouTube channel, and he has multiple videos interviewing South African celebrities, and they're quite recent.
Why?
Know?
What's his? What is he?
You see, this is the thing.
Does he want to be a podcast guy or an election candidate? Like, make your mind up, man. And by the way, when he did come in and spend some time with Jack Motlanthe and I, he didn't exactly come across as. Yeah, I mean, you go watch that interview if you want some fun. He's not a bad person. There's no such thing. He's just like, it's very superficial. And I like him, Paul. He's not an idiot. But the guy didn't dig deep, because when we asked him 2 or 3 questions about the same subject, he's like, don't know.
Yes.
Start again, please. Reboot.
You see, so that's my issue, is that you are out here trying to get our votes, but you're also trying to be the cool guy. Like, you want to keep up with like celebrity trends and celebrity culture and interviewing the who's just so you can say you had an interview with them. No, focus on what you want to do. Be a leader or a podcaster. You can't be both.
Well, I mean, you could. You could. I mean, you can lead opinion. You can influence, right? And there are a lot of people who've started their own podcasts, and I wish them luck. I mean, we've always been very welcoming to people who want to do podcasts, but I think it's steadily getting to the point now where there are too many, and you've got to separate the people. Only have so many hours in a day.
Yes.
Which is another reason why we've decided not to do so much of this show.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we cut it down initially from 5 hours and 5 days a week, 3 hours, to 4 days a week and 2 hours. And I promise you, we're getting closer and closer to what I eventually want. But I'll warn you well in advance. It's a long way off. But we are going to be cutting that down. Either way, the point is, you get to do whatever you want these days. And that's great. You can be a podcaster. You can be a YouTube star, be an influencer, whatever you want to be. But the audience are going to choose what they care about. And even if you are fantastic and they don't like you, then maybe it's not for you. Maybe you should stick to your knitting.
Yeah. But in this case, Gareth, is very black and white for me. It's either you're a politician or you do the podcasting thing. Like, you want my vote. You want me to support you. I think you should focus on the economic climate of South Africa, changing things, building roads, schools, potholes. I don't need to see you every week on my screen talking to some celebrity about, so what's trending this week and what happened in the life of Gareth Cliff. No, I don't need you to know that. I need you to know the price of bread.
Someone asked me this morning when I woke up, I saw I had a message on a DM on Instagram. You get those requests, message requests. I went in there because I never clear that out. And I saw some dude who's got a podcast about entrepreneurship or something. And he's like, oh, how are you? I'm sure you've heard of my entrepreneurship podcast. I'm like, no,
not at all.
But I didn't say that, Tim. So I'm like, nah, look, I just sent a voice note while driving to work this morning. I'm like, dude, thanks very much for the invitation, but I've got enough time in front of a microphone and a camera. Yeah. I think that people, why would they come here for what you want to hear from me? We have lots of time and we have loads of fun, and this is the place to hang out. I don't need to be on everyone else's podcasts. Okay. I do 1 or 2 every now and then. I'm not opposed to the idea, especially if it's something interesting or new or different. Lovely. But not all the time. Someone says in the comments, skolopat. Yes. Now that was an interview.
So
Sharon says skolopat. Now, I mean, that's just classic, right? Skolopat's got to be one of my favorite things.
Yes.
And then she fell asleep.
I was going to say that. I wasn't there for the interview, but I saw the aftermath of the interview, and you guys drained her.
I'm going to try and remind myself at the same time as I'm trying to remind the audience, like, Skolopat was some kind of internet sensation for a short while. Singer.
I don't know singer. I don't know, because I can't think of a song. But she was she was an internet sensation because she was at that time she was very provocative. You know,
lots of twerking.
Yeah, she was showing us skin. She is the original Babes Wabantu.
Yes,
I would put it like that.
Yeah, and no disrespect to Babes Wabantu. Okay, disrespect to Babes. But anyway, Skolopat came in and she was one of our guests one morning, and a taxi dropped her off.
Okay.
And then she came up to the studio and she did the interview, which was short. I mean, there wasn't a lot to talk about. And then she proceeded to go outside and have a sleep on the sofa in the green room, where she slept for, I don't know, 25 minutes or so. Woke up, weave was all over the place. Clothes were like creased. And then she demanded, this is not a word of a lie. She said to Jane Malachi, who also, by the way, does not take anyone's shit. Jane ran the office, and Skolopat says to her, as part of my rider for being here. So we're like, yeah. Jane goes, what do you want? She goes, I need a loaf of bread, but just a loaf, Sasko, right?
This lady.
A loaf of bread and some jam. That was what she wanted. And Jane came to me and said, listen, we've got a problem. We don't keep loaves of bread and jam for guests. This is not a usual request. So I'm like, Jane, do you feel like going to the shop and getting her? Jane goes, no.
No.
So I come out and I go, listen, skolopat, very nice to see you, but we don't have any of that. And she was like, you would think it was Diana Ross who didn't get the dressing room that she had told her people that she wanted. And, suddenly, like, I demanded a black dressing room and here it is and it's pink. And I wanted some Smarties, but I want you to take all the blue ones out. I don't like the blue ones. And his Skolopat was like incensed.
Yeah, she was basically like, do you know who I am? I am Skolopat.
She was furious. She was furious. I don't think we'll ever see her again.
No. And she was a professional nurse, wasn't she, or something like that? So she had a real job.
Well, a professional. She was a nurse, but I don't know how professional she was. Oh, my God. Morning, everybody. Just realized this morning, says Mapelo, that Vodacom took tens of gigs of my data because it expired. What a crime.
Oh.
Listen, these telcos, it's not just Vodacom, all of them. I get a message every now and then. They're like, you have this much left. And I'm like, wow, I got a lot of data. But then it expires. They say, you got to use it up by Thursday. And I'm like, what must I do? Download whole movies?
HD porn.
HD porn. Like, I'll need to fill my phone up to get that much data in here. He was mad.
Sure.
Yesterday's burning platform guest, Jesus Take the Wheel. He was like a squirrel that raves, says Tracy. Pumi did a great job holding her laugh and biting her tongue.
But her face said it all.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, she might have not said anything.
Listen,
but
if
Pumi's face was
if you missed it, you got to watch that. That's a great episode. Okay. Then, guys, the worst interview was the Lindbergh's other son, the one who was a rap star. He stands out as the worst I've ever heard. Oh, I remember that. Okay, so I am friends with Josh and Zureda. I know them well. I've known Zureda since we were together at 5FM. But Josh has a brother whose name, forgive me, I can't remember. But anyway, he came in for an interview. I think he was just having a bad day.
Okay.
We're all allowed one bad day.
Yes, we are.
But just talk like mealy-mouthed, monstrously crap bullshit the whole way through the show. So I think it lasted maybe 20 minutes, and that was pushing. 20 minutes of bullshit. So, okay, we got some other ideas here for the worst guests. Guys, it's Zodwa Wabantu, not Babes Wabantu. The Babes is Babes Wadumo.
Yes. Sorry, because Babes is an icon. Sorry, don't want to get that confused. But Zodwa Wabantu. Ooh, child. Don't get me started.
The Real Network need to stop interviewing ANC idiots. These guys will give Pumi a heart attack. Fair enough.
Noted.
Hey, listen, we did decide, and today's no politics Friday, so I'm not going into this too heavily, but we did say we're going to give every party a chance.
Yes.
And I'll have Lesejo back. He was very entertaining. He may not have interested Pumi and answered all of her questions to her satisfaction.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have him back. I said it and I mean it.
Okay.
We've got to get them in here. You see, the problem is, like, he listens to the show, so he knows that we're not mean. But a lot of these politicians and even some people in business, and they think that this show is a place where we tear people apart, and it really isn't, as you will see if you watch yesterday's interview. So go and take a look. All right, some other stuff we need to talk about quickly before Ben gets in. This is a New York. Oh, wait, before you get to the New York City couple, I've got something to show you. All right, so here is a video of a woman taking part in an eating competition.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, so there are people called professional eaters. In fact, I remember once we had a guy called Dave Ribeiro in the studio who I know.
Wait, can we just go back?
Yeah.
What is a professional eater?
I'm getting to it. So
Okay.
Dave came in. He's not a professional eater, but he's entered eating competitions. And he was eating chilies.
Okay.
Which is like, it's a test of your ability to handle really hot chilies. Then there are people who will eat hot dogs. There are hot dog eating competitions in America where they literally push like 10 hot dogs down their throats. You get people who do this with ice cream. Now, this woman, I'm not sure what her name is. She's from England. She's not, let's just put it this way. She's not going to win any beauty pageants. Okay? She's eating a chocolate cake, and they call it the Gâteau Challenge at a place called Cattleman's Restaurant. I'm going to give them a plug because they recorded this. Everyone I've shown this to, and I shared it on Instagram, threw up a little in their mouths when they saw it, because in order to wolf this cake down, it's a full chocolate cake, but it's like very, very rich. Okay. In order to get this down, she eventually halfway through, I think she has 10 minutes to devour the cake. And she looks like she could really do it at the beginning. You'll see in a minute whether she gets it right or not. But halfway through, she decides this thing's too chocolatey. And you know what she does? You'll see it. She pours water on it and mushes it into, like, you know, when you're a kid and you play with mud, she makes that. And then she stuffs this into her face. You will see whether she actually manages to devour enough of the gâteau in the Gâteau Challenge. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this. Hit it, James.
We've got pre-challenge. We've got Tracy Weber here. And she's got her gloves on and her teeth on the table next to her. Yay! Go on, girl. Go on, girl. She's in it to win it. And we're going to start the challenge in a minute. It's 10 minutes for the Gâteau Challenge. And we're off. Get it down, you Trace. Right, we are halfway through the cake challenge. Trace, how you getting on? Yeah? Yeah, she's going to put water on it. We've got a new tactic. Here we go. Woo-hoo. Can I have a straw? Oh, wow. How do you slow it up? Give the restaurant a call. We're passing some painted. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. How did you find that?
Extremely impossible, to be
Right,
fair.
okay.
It's really chewy, it's really rich, and good luck to the next one.
Are you coming back to do it again?
Absolutely not, but I'm up to the mix.
Yeah. She goes, You didn't see she's satisfied. What, are you disgusted?
Yeah, I'm traumatized.
What
My
was
eyes
the what
did not
disgust?
need to see that.
What was it that disgusted you?
You know what that reminded me of? And it took me to a movie that I still love, Matilda. And there's a scene where one of the kids ate the principal's chocolate cake, and then she calls him up to the stage, and basically is like, well, you had a slice of my chocolate cake, here's the whole cake. And then he just basically does that same thing of just and boom, that's it.
Did you see when she poured the water on and then made like a little like mud pie out of it? And then
you don't do that to cake. You don't do that to chocolate.
I mean, the idea of mixing the water with the chocolate cake on the plate is just so disgusting. Snipe says that is repulsive. Sianda says civilization has peaked.
I feel like I need a salad now.
Look at those views, says repulsive, disgusting, and simply devastating to witness. Hey, I saw it. You got to watch it too.
No, we're not doing that.
There is punishment for all.
We can't all be traumatized, okay?
Punishment for me means punishment for you. Now, I discovered another clip.
Is it just on a scale of worse or better? Where is it?
You can decide. This next clip features another creature. And you tell me, after you've watched the second one, who you think ate with more dignity and class.
Do we need that etiquette guy back?
Yeah, we
Because
do.
clearly
We need him.
This world has just gone shukukuku because this can't be it. But I think I'm ready.
Here we go.
Let's go.
All right, let's hit it. Here is the second clip. You tell me who ate better.
Is that a pig?
That's a pig. An actual pig. Yep. And she's got a range of cakes on the table. And she's going to decide now which one she likes. You ready? Yes. Yes. That's beautiful. Look, smushing,
Oh.
drops half of it on the floor. I still think she's more dignified.
Sure. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. At least you didn't add
All right,
any of the
okay.
mud to the cake, you
All
know.
right, no, hang on.
I'll give the pig that.
So-
Didn't add any other ingredients to the cake. Was like, nah.
You think the pig did a better job?
I think in terms of just not adding additional things made it better, you know. It made it better.
I think that the pig handled it with more dignity.
Okay.
I would rather eat alongside the pig
Oh, wow.
than alongside that woman in the first clip. And I am I am horrified that I even had to witness both of these. So horrified that I decided you needed to see it too. So now we're all even Stevens.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay.
No,
I'm
of
not
course not.
okay. I'm not okay.
Mapello agrees, says that is better. At least the pig did a clean job.
You're gonna have something.
Not
just
much
enjoy it.
difference, says Vyasin, except the pig looked better. At least the pig kept its teeth in. Oh, robot. I love it. Okay. We got a lot of different comments here on that. But I did think while I was watching that, you know, having table manners is kind of important.
It is very.
You brought up
especially
the
now.
etiquette guy. Like if you eat nicely, it doesn't matter what you're eating.
Yes.
Don't you eat nicely? People will eat with you and they'll be thrilled to see you.
Yes. You know, he spoke about how you serve and placement of your cutlery. I think we
Yes.
also need to talk about how you eat food
Yes,
on the
yes,
plate.
yes.
Like you don't just squash things and add water. No, we don't do that.
And then push it into your face. And,
And then you have it all over. We're not one. We don't do that. We're civilized people, please. So that's all I'm saying. That's
Well,
all I'm saying.
Tracy says at least the pig is kind of cute. Mapello says, I never laughed so much so early in the morning. Oh, wait, there's more. All right, let's turn our attention to the brilliant Ben Karpinski, who's actually in Cape Town at the moment. And he's going to give us a little update on what's up for us in the sports world beyond the scoreboard with Ben Karpinski, powered by Superbets. And by the way, Ben, before you kick off on your side, we are going to run a brand new Superbets promotion this morning. You can predict a European champion and win 40,000 Rand, Simphiwe. 40,000. There will be 3 European football kings crowned in the Champions League, Europa League, and the Conference League. You could place a minimum of 40 Rand. Just listen to this. 40 Rand in real money or more on any of the selected European outright markets. Prize money is 40,000 Rand. That's 20,000 in cash and 20,000 in bonus money.
Ooh.
The promotion runs until Saturday, the 1st of June. So you have a month to do this.
Ooh.
T's and C's apply. You can get more info on the Beyond the Scoreboard page on therealnetwork.com. Go along there for more instructions. But who doesn't need 40,000 Rand? That would help pay the bills. That would help with everybody. And now let's get to what Ben wants to talk to us about. Hey, Ben, are you wearing a Viapia rugby jersey there? Very good. Okay, well, what do you have for us? Ben, I'm just going to stop you quickly. Sorry. Apparently, we're not getting any sound on Ben. Marv, can you sort that out for us? All right, we're just sorting it out. Otherwise, I mean, you were talking, but I was the only one who was hearing you. I'm Simphiwe and I, and nobody else. So that's no good, considering we don't just do the show for ourselves. No, now I hear 0. Now I can't even hear you. All right, well, let's just try and sort that out quickly, Ben. Bound to be technical difficulties. It looks great, but the sound is still a problem. We're going to try and sort that out quickly. We're going to have Simphiwe's irritating quiz a little bit later on too, so stick around for that. And we've got a guest joining us just after 7. That is Josh Muller. We'll be talking to him in just a short while, but we're going to get Ben back on, and hopefully he can give us some sport without disappearing into the ether sound-wise. I think what happened was that when we had the pig in that woman, it ruined everything.
Yes, it did.
They ate the cables.
It was too soon, too early.
No good. No good. So Meg says, is Ben doing a pantomime? Okay, no, we are trying to sort that out. James, do we have a solution? Okay. Oh. All right, let's try again. Let's see if we can do this again. See if we can get Ben back on. Ah, there he is.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right,
Round
Ben,
2.
we're going to try round 2. Sorry. Here is Ben, brought to you by Superbets. Yeah, we can hear you now. You still can't hear him? Ay, guys. Just see what you can do there, James. This is like hit and miss. Ben woke up especially early this morning so that he would be able to bring us the sport, and now we don't know what the hell we're doing. Ben, give us a sound check. Testing. No? Ay. All right, it's the blind leading the blind in the producer's room here. You must see they're all running around with their arms flailing above their heads.
How many people
Like
does
their
it take
backs are
to
on
fix the
fire.
sound?
It takes a lot of them.
Wait, is Ben still on screen?
I hope Ben's on screen because that was funny. He basically looked like an orangutan. Oh my God. Let's see what's going on here in the comments. The deaf leading the deaf.
Oh, is that sign language? Can you?
I can't. Can you read sign language?
No, I can't. I was
Okay.
going to.
Just do the orangutan thing again. That's funny. That's like the universal sign for someone who doesn't know what the hell to do and they're panicking. Is that that's just great. Have you tried turning it off and on again? Look, slippery pickle. We have some serious people here who know what they're doing.
Yes.
You want us to read your sports report off your screen? Is that what you want us to do?
Okay.
Look at that.
So
Ben's
this
made
week's
notes.
speeches, dun, 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 I can't see anything.
That's hilarious. Look at all of that. Jeez, Ben, it looks like you have a dashboard of very, very complex controls there. All right. Have you guys figured it out, or are we still screwed? 2 minutes.
2 minutes is
All
a
right.
long time.
Ben, just wait. Apparently, you just have to hang around for 2 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. In the meantime, Simphiwe, give us that quiz of yours, this irritating quiz. Ben, you can play along in sign language.
Okay, cool. So this is not my quiz.
Oh, so it
This
was
is
your irritating quiz.
No. So there's a guy on TikTok. His name is Slew, and he's basically come up with like the most irritating South African quiz.
Okay.
Or quizzes. So he does a whole bunch, and I decided just to share some of the questions that he
Okay.
asks on.
Did he design this especially to be irritating?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Yes, he did. And he's done quite a few. So if you want more of these types of quizzes, go check him out on TikTok. But we'll start with question number 1, and I hope you guys can answer if you do have the answer. If you do
Bring it
know
on.
the answers, let's go. And this is
I
when
love
we
a quiz. It'll take a lot to irritate me in a quiz. Let's go.
Okay. So question number 1. Hailing from the Eastern Cape is a celebrated South African poet, novelist, playwright, and founding member of the African Writers Trust. Who was what was Zakes Mda's first novel?
Zakes Mda. I don't know.
Ways of Dying.
Oh, okay.
Question 2.
Okay. Why
Attach-
is this irritating? That's quite good.
No, I don't know.
He
Let's
sets it up, but I don't think it's bad. All right, next question.
Question number 2. Attached to Sandton City is a shopping center named after an iconic South African anti-apartheid activist and former president.
Nelson Mandela Square.
The question is not done.
Ah.
In what year was Sandton Square renamed Nelson Mandela Square?
In 1999.
No, you're wrong. It is 2004.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
This is quite irritating because I'm not getting anything right.
Question
Go
number
on.
3. South Africa has beautiful multicolored banknotes which feature each of the big 5. On which banknote would you find the Cape Buffalo?
10 rand.
Incorrect. It's the 100 rand.
Damn it. Oh, of course, 10 rand's the rhino. Damn it.
I don't know if you would know this answer, Gareth, but question number 4. In 2005, Kendrick Lamar released an album that was particularly inspired by his trip in South Africa. Which national heritage site did Kendrick list as an influence for To Pimp a Butterfly?
I'd say Robben Island.
Close. Mandela's prison cell.
Well, come on. I get it. Give me a point.
Half a point.
'Kay.
Last question, right? Marvel movies have enjoyed success in South African cinemas, often breaking office records upon release. Name the first Marvel movie to feature a South African actor.
Black Panther.
Incorrect. A lot of people went with that one. It is Captain America Civil War.
What, was there someone in the background?
I
Some
don't
extra?
know. So these are the
Yes,
types of
sis.
questions that he asks on his platform.
Okay, no,
And-
this guy's good because
Yeah.
you think you know the answer, and then it turns out that you're actually jumping the gun and you don't know anything.
And I think that's the
All right.
annoying part or the
Okay.
irritating part.
Christoph
So-
says, how is this supposed to be annoying? Because obviously Christoph's got everything right so far.
all right, Mr.
Well done.
Know-it-all.
Well done. All right, so he does this all the time?
All the time. He has
Great.
plenty of other quizzes on there. I think he's on quiz number 15. Check him out. But this is just someone I thought, hey, like, this is annoying. Because I tried answering some of these questions and I was like, damn it. I jumped
I
the
like
bullet
this.
in one or two. So, yeah.
Sanella says, Gareth, your answers this morning are earning you an ANC membership.
Oh,
Very anti. He's very anti-ANC, our Sanella.
Sure.
Very anti-ANC.
sure.
Okay, I got all of them, says Lisa. All right. Guys, how are we looking there? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, so he's coming out and he's going back in.
Yeah.
So basically, we're making Ben run around the house.
Yeah.
All right,
you know?
Ben, we'll see him in a second.
Okay.
The ANC interview yesterday was so cringe. The arrogance and audacity these people's triggering, says Yomero. No. We've got to admire the fact that they came. I mean,
Yes.
you know what? Like if I were the ANC, I'd just hide in a quiet place where no one else was.
And not share the story of Dinsalo. No, Gareth.
Just hide, but they came. So good for them. If I do work for Gareth, I want to get paid in cash, says Slippery Pickle. Why? Because I'll fire you? All right. We're going to get Ben back on here. Let's see if we can talk to him.
Yes.
And just by the way, I'll just repeat for you if you didn't catch it in the beginning. We've got a special Super Bets promotion on. You can predict a European champion and win 40,000 Rand. There will be 3 European Football Kings crowned in the Champions League, Europa League, and the Conference League. You can place a minimum bet of 40 Rand in money, real money. How else does it work? Or any of the selected European outright markets. The prize money is 40,000 Rand.
Sure.
That would be 20K in cash and 20K in bonus money, which you can go and bet on something else. It runs until Saturday, the 1st of June, 2024. T's and C's apply. More info on Beyond the Scoreboard on therealnetwork.com. Just go to our website, take a look, join up there, and all the information is written right there. You can't possibly get it wrong. Go and take a look. And Superbets, of course, supports responsible gambling. It's important to tell you this. Strictly no under 18s. Winners know when to stop. The South African Responsible Gambling Foundation's toll-free counseling hotline is 0800 006 008. Right, are we on? Yes. See, these guys, they said to me this morning, no, we've got it. It's all sorted. Don't
But
worry.
when it rains, it pours, Gareth. It just takes one slight, I don't know what it is, what it does,
Here he is.
But
Hello,
let's
Ben.
blame the lady.
Now we can see and hear you. All right, Ben, take it away.
I will take some of your ways today, that's for sure. All right, so
We can hear you loud and clear.
So basically, you heard nothing in the beginning when I started this, right?
I heard you, but the audience didn't. So start again for our benefit.
All right, guys, cool. Well, hello. Friday, it's sport, and it's 29 days until the ICC T20 World Cup. Now, the cool thing about this World Cup is that it's taking place in the West Indies and the USA. That's if you like growing the game. But most importantly, it's like, what is this Proteas team right now? Who's the captain? Do we have a chance? Well, we always kind of have a chance. But I just think that we got to the stage right now where, as all stakeholders of SA cricket, we just got to demand that these oaks stop fucking around now. They used to be in a really good position where we had excellence on the field, we had a decent sort of team dynamic, and we were doing all the right things. And they just lost the plot. That's all I will say. They lost the plot. And now we always want to compare everything to the Springboks because they are the epitome of excellence, representation, nation building, all those kind of things. So these oaks need to really, really pull their socks up now. And this is a great tournament in order to do that. We've still got the buzz and the positivity from the box. So a 15-man squad will be led by Aiden Markram. Temba Bavuma is not the captain. He's out of there. Now, Temba is a great player. I don't think he's a great captain. So Aiden Markram, I think, is a good bet with that. Reza Hendricks, because Temba's not there, now gets a chance to obviously flourish. Rusty van der Dissen has not made the squad, which could be seen as like the one sort of surprising thing. But these oaks have been ballsy. They've gone for a bit more youth and experience, which is great. So that will start, as I said, 29 days' time. Bangladesh, Nepal, the Netherlands, and Sri Lanka will be in our group. So that's something to really look forward to if you're enjoying the cricket. Into the rugby, it is a fantastic weekend of rugby. It's a weekend full of semis. So we've got the Investec Champions Cup, and we've got the EPCR Challenge Cup. I even took the...
What the hell is that?
Exactly. I took the trouble to work out what the thing is that the Sharks are in. It is the EPCR Challenge Cup. First, let's talk about the Investec Champions Cup. It's obviously like the best of the best in European South African rugby. So Saturday, we've got Leinster, who sent a second-string team to SA for the last two URC games. They'll be at full strength. And I assume they'll be beating Northampton at 6:30 on Saturday. And then Sunday, we've got Toulouse versus the Harlequins. That'll be at 4. I would back the favourites here, definitely. These two clubs, Toulouse and Leinster, they really are like super clubs within this. Kind of like the Real Madrid and Bayern Munich of rugby, if you will. So I'll definitely back the home teams there. And as for the EPCR Challenge Cup, well, if the Sharks don't win this, then they're absolutely screwed because they've got this really star-studded Springbok sort of team, and they've put so much money into becoming this huge strength SA rugby, but they've been dog shit for the last 2 years. If they win the EPCR Challenge Cup, I'm going to keep saying it just so I remember it. If they win this, they then get to play in the Investec Champions Cup next year. If they don't, then they'll just keep playing the EPCR Challenge Cup. And that's a big worry because
this EPCR Challenge Cup, I can't believe I even got it right. Is that like that waste management thing that you once told us about in golf? I mean, it just sounds absolutely rubbish.
No, it's a secondary European thing. So if you're not in the top 8 of the URC, or you're in the one of the top teams in England or France, you don't get to play in the Investec Champions Cup. So now you're in this EPCR Challenge Cup. So anyway, let's not keep getting back into that. But the Sharks have to win this trophy, right? So unfortunately, they've forgone home ground advantage because these guys just don't care about traveling at this stage of the game. So they'll now play the next 2 games in London, basically. So they've got Clermont. They're taking them on tomorrow at 1:30, and then Gloucester will be taking on Benetton at 4. So all the games will be played in London, and the Sharks need to win the semi to get a final, and it'll be quite something. But they've got the team, they really do. They should win this. And they've won 5 of the 6 last games that they've played. They've only won one game. Sorry, they only lost one game in the EPCR Challenge Cup, and that was against the Cheetahs. So, I mean, you've got to back them. I would back him, and I would back Gloucester. So, yeah, going with the favourites there. It's the Singapore Sevens this weekend as well. So actually quite soon, like in about an hour's time, the Blitzbok will be playing their first game. They're welcoming back some well-needed talent and experience. So, look, they're currently 7th on the actual world standings, so not looking so flash. Argentina are the best team this year, followed by Ireland, Fiji, and France. But SA will be taking on Spain in an hour's time, and then they'll take on Samoa at 1:15. And then tomorrow morning, their last pool game to see if they qualify will be against the very strong French team. They'll be 8:24. Of course, the reason I'm telling you this and where they stand is that the Olympics are the 24th into the 30th of July, and that is like the pinnacle of the sevens. That's why you get guys like Anton Dupont, who will want to play sevens this year so he can become an Olympian. I don't know if that's really one of those things you want to boast about because, well, again, we've had this conversation about people getting Olympic tattoos on their arms when they're not really Olympians. But these oaks are still playing the sevens there, and that is a really, really big deal for them. On the football, Sundowns won the league last night. Absolutely zero surprises there. It is their 7th straight title. It took them 24 games to do it. And kind of fittingly, they smashed Kaiser Chiefs 5-1. Like, Chiefs are just such a disaster. I mean,
they really are. They even came up. They came up in our ANC interview yesterday. The guy's like, Chiefs will never win. I was like, wow, if the ANC starts saying that about you, you really know.
I mean, that was even worse than Fikile and Balula calling you a loser. If the ANC are calling you losers, you really are. I mean, that is just embarrassing. So they lost 5-1 to Chiefs. So Sundowns, great. We all knew that was going to happen, and they were unbeaten. So that goes that story for this year. They will be in action this weekend because it's Nedbank Cup semis. So first up Saturday, we've got Chipper versus Pirates at 3, and then Sunday will be Stellenbosch versus Sundowns at 3. So that's for the Nedbank Cup semis. Obviously, the big race for the Premier League title is just hotting up after each week. We're now at the stage where there's just a handful of games. There really is. I mean, small hand, Carney handful of games because Arsenal have got 3, Man City have got 4 games. So currently, Arsenal are on top. They've got 80 points, but they've played 35. Man City 79. So, I mean, who's got the easier run in? Well, Arsenal played Bournemouth at home on Saturday, and then they got Man United away and Everton at home. Pretty tricky matches. I think Everton are quite resurgent, and they could be quite difficult. Man City have got Wolves at home this weekend. Then they've got Fulham away, Spurs away, and West Ham at home. Liverpool mathematically are here if everyone else completely cocks it up, but let's not be silly. It's Man City's title to lose. All they need to do is win on the way home. But if they slip up once and Arsenal get 9 points, that's kind of where we're sitting. That's where we're sitting. It's another weekend of the Formula One. It's back, and it'll be at Miami. You know, a massive town built on cocaine and partying actually really does deserve its own Grand Prix, and that's what it's got now. So, yeah, I mean, if you like the F1, it's a decent race. It's quite attractive to the eye. And then we've got UFC 301. So UFC 300 was huge, and it would have taken me about 50 minutes to really get through the actual card. UFC 301 will take me 5 seconds to get through what's actually worth watching. Not the greatest card. It's going to be in Brazil, so you get a whole bunch of Brazilian fighters. So if you're really into Brazilian men, this is the one for you. If you're not, might want to give this one a skip. So Alex Pantoja is the flyweight champion, and he'll be taking on Steve Urquhart. Not the most interesting. Urquhart. Yeah, that's what. Urquhart. Steve Urquhart. I mean, the guy's good. The guy's good. It's going to be a great fight. Those flyweight title fights are frenetic. You know, because they're so small and fast and whippy, it's like 2 stray dogs going at each other. It really is hugely exciting. And outside of that, you've got Jose Aldo, who is not a shoe model. He is basically Brazil's most famous UFC fighter. Kind of infamously taken down by Conor McGregor, which was a really big bummer for him. There's probably his last fight, and that's the only other notable fight you should really worry about. He'll be fighting Jonathan Martinez. So there's golf locally in the Sunshine Tour. It's a tournament of champions being played at Royal Johannesburg, but nothing really golf-wise until the PGA Champs comes back on May 16, 19. Your big thing for this weekend will be the Investec Champions Cup and the EPCR Challenge Cup semis. I would back the favorites there.
There it is. Again, it's getting another plug.
The EPCR Challenge Cup is the weekend of that. And then, of course, there is the Premier League. Those are your massive ones to look for this weekend, and that's what I'll be watching.
All right, so what are you doing in Cape Town? Are you playing some golf tournament that you haven't told us about?
Sadly not. No, I'm just doing some more interviews for this content series that I'm doing. I'm trying to single-handedly make the greatest rugby development story, it's a huge task. It's going to be 9 episodes. I'm 2 episodes in, but I've met some absolute legends here. Like, people just making such a difference. And Western Cape is the heartland of SA rugby. I mean, people can obviously dispute that for me and have an argument, but, you know, with the school structures where they are, the heritage of Western Province rugby, and the amount of talent that's being developed in like township areas and stuff, it's just a really cool place to tell the story. So today I'm interviewing people from 2 leading schools, and then tomorrow morning I'll be filming some just general action, and then tomorrow I'm going to a wedding.
Okay, well,
very exciting.
I think you can wear the VP tray to your wedding as well.
I'm going to, obviously.
But you can't wear it up here in Gauteng. You'll be taken out.
I'm stronger than I look, Gareth. I'll take those chances.
All right, Ben. Thank you very much. And enjoy your wedding as well as all the documentary making that you're busy with. It's always good to catch up with Ben, and he will be in studio with us next week for more.
Looking forward to it already.
Ciao, Ben. Very good.
Ciao, bye.
Exciting stuff, right, Simphiwe?
Oh, yes, and
Lots.
yes. I'm just excited about that prize money.
The 40,000. I know my customers. Bring it straight into what Simphiwe wants. That's what we do here. All right, I did see some funny comments here. Somebody said, did Ben just say stakeholders? Yes, he did.
He's a great man.
He said stakeholders. And then there are a couple other comments here. What's the circuit in Miami? Do they take any right corners? I don't know, Slippery Pickle. I don't even know if you're trying to be funny or not. I know that little about Formula One. I'm like,
is that you being sarcastic?
I don't know what you mean.
Maybe,
But Ben did say that Miami is a place for what? Cocaine and hookers?
Yeah, like when I think Miami, I think like
cocaine and
sun, hookers. I think bikini, I think sexy, I think, whoa, let's go. Like, so
Mr.
Formula
Worldwide. That's what I think. All right. We'll be back in just a moment or two with a whole lot more. It's Friday morning. Good stuff on the Real Network and on the Gareth Cliff Show this morning. Simphiwe's here. We're going to be joined by a guest in the next couple of minutes. I'm sure you're going to find very interesting. All of that and more on the way. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a quick break. Back in a second.
This week on the Auto Trader podcast.
And it was raining, it was pouring, literally. So I'm going, everything's fine. All of a sudden, I lose all traction. I'm just sliding. And I was like, what do I do now? What do I do? And I just remembered like Lightning McQueen, really. I was like...
to turn right, turn left.
So I'm like, what would Lightning McQueen do? And I'm turning the opposite direction. And fortunately, I wasn't going, too fast. So it didn't manage to catch its grip again.
Yeah.
And I had the biggest scare of my life because, there's rocks everywhere. And it was just a terrifying experience. I don't know if you've ever been through that.
Catch us every Monday at 9 a.m. on YouTube and on autotrader.co.za.
All right. Good morning. It is beautiful Friday, and we're definitely heading into winter, but we're not worried about that at all. Simphiwe is with me, and we have a guest who I'll introduce to you in a second. I see lots of people talking about grab the bull by the horns, stakeholder. I love that word, stakeholder. It's been used and abused by government for so long now that I just think we should all take it back. Stakeholders. All right. Let me introduce you to our guest for this morning. He is a holistic touch therapist. Okay, yeah, I know what you're thinking. He'll explain it in a minute. He's not some wacky hippie.
That's what I thought. I won't lie.
Well, he does he does talk therapy, which is no different to what like a shrink or a therapist would do with you, right? He does breath work because most of us don't know that we breathe badly. He does body work, which means deep tissue massage. And anyone who's had one of those knows that stuff works. He also does tantric touch, which is an intimate form of body work he uses to help people heal from sexual trauma and expand their relationship to pleasure. And then, obviously, trauma, where it comes
boring.
from.
Let's go back to that other one.
Tantric. Okay, so we'll get to that in a second. Josh is our guest this morning, Josh Muller. It's nice to see you, Josh. How are you?
Good morning, Gareth. I'm fine, thanks. And yourself?
Very, very good. Okay, so all of that sounds super hippie. And it sounds like the kind of stuff that, you do a bit of crystal healing and you bang a gong and you go, donga, longa, 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 longa. And then people go, I was abused by my uncle when I was 5 years old. How can you help me get over this? And you have to help them. But you also were a cage fighter, which makes this very, very different to what I expected.
Well, if I can start at the beginning.
Yes.
Actually, let me start before the beginning, and then I'll work my way. My way forward. When I was 8 years old, I started massaging people at the dinner table because I was a naughty little kid, and I needed something to do with my time and my hands.
That doesn't sound very good.
No, but you mean like neck massages?
Yes, neck
right?
massage.
Okay,
I just thought tantric touch when I was 8. That would be super weird.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a professional wrestler when I was a kid, and
but you watch a lot of that WWE stuff.
God, I was obsessed.
Right?
I was fully obsessed.
Are you of the era of? Let's see if I know anyone. Undertaker.
Yes.
Yeah, all that stuff. Mm-hmm.
Stone
Rey
Cold Steve
Mysterio.
Austin. Yeah. Rey
Stone
Mysterio.
Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, that was my guy.
So Simphiwe was too.
Yeah, I feel so cool now.
Okay, so that's where it started.
And when I was about 16 years old, I found mixed martial arts, and I started training. At the time, it was called submission wrestling, and I thought, that's got the word wrestling in it. I'll do that. That's a good way to train for becoming a WWE superstar. And I fell in love with the sport of mixed martial arts, and I decided to pursue it professionally.
Okay.
I wasn't very good. I would say, I was not dedicated in the way that is required to go to the top level.
Okay.
And I always found that even in my martial arts career, that the thing that really spoke to me most was coaching, like coaching other athletes.
Okay.
And somewhere in my mid-20s, I was around 24 years old, as a struggling cage fighter trying to make a living. I needed to supplement my income somehow. And I remembered that, massage was something I was always good at, was something that I always enjoyed doing. And so I studied anatomy and physiology. I studied exercise science, and I studied sports massage therapy. And I opened my first sports massage practice in 2014. So that was sort of how I got started professionally in working with touch. If we fast forward a little bit, I throughout my 20s and my early 30s. I'm still in my early 30s. Okay, so throughout my 20s,
date yourself so quickly.
Yeah, not date myself.
Make yourself feel so old immediately, right?
Exactly.
Go on.
In my early 20s, I received many sensual massages. I went for sensual massage myself, and I had a lot of experiences that were very healing, but a lot of experiences that were quite traumatic.
Whoa, hang on. Okay, so when you say you received sensual massages, this is someone they hand manipulated you to completion.
Isn't
to
the
completion,
term
yes.
a happy ending?
It is. Yes, it is.
All right.
And it was not such a happy ending for me.
All right. So this kind of thing, like, I used to have a producer who said he used to go to these places where there would be these little I don't know, Thai ladies, and they would give you hand manipulation after the massage. A massage was basically just like a bullshit prelude.
Yeah.
Like the forward to a book, and then you get into the chapters and it's like straight to the action. So you got to explain this. The rub and tug, as Steve calls it. Yeah.
That's that's a pretty, your description's pretty good. But I received so many that I had experiences of like having really good massages that felt very nurturing and very loving, and I had experiences that felt like I was a cattle in a meat market.
No. Right, so they were just getting it done.
Exactly.
Like, let's finish this off. Because it can't be pleasant to do that to a stranger.
Well, we'll get into that.
Well,
I like what I do.
This is a great start to your Friday as you're waking up with your cornflakes.
So basically, what happened was that I had received so many of the good and so many of the bad that I figured, well, I think I know how to do this better. I think I know a way to do this that could be a little bit more.
Did you receive these from men and women?
Only from women.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that.
Or did you just request a woman?
Well, no, I'd say that I never really explored that part of my sexuality until much later in life. Yeah, and then obviously it's 2024, and I had to come out as straight. Which it's just really
Whoa,
that's tough.
It's very tough.
These days, that's really
so
brave. So brave.
I don't get to add a letter to my name.
No, that is so boring. That's like so vanilla.
So
like,
brave.
what do you mean?
So stunning, so brave.
So stunning, so brave.
All right, let's just fast forward this a little bit. So you decided you could do this better.
Yeah,
and there's a market for this.
Absolutely, yeah.
And clearly, there are people who either they're extremely lonely, or they have trauma, or they're just looking for a thrill, or they genuinely want to experience something transcendental and different. And for whatever reason, you have to keep an open mind. They come into you, and then you get pretty intimate with them, is what I understand.
Yeah, it's a pretty intimate experience. I'd say that something happened around about 4 or 5 years ago when I was doing this work. I had a sense that there was something more to the work than just rub and tug, which is sort of what I was doing. I did a bit of escorting work as well, so I've done it all.
You really have experienced a lot.
And there was a moment when I started. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about this. When I first engaged with plant medicine, when I started experiencing ayahuasca for the first time, that I went in with this intention that I'd like to deepen my relationship to my work. That I had a sense that there was more that I could be doing besides just rub and tug.
By the way, are those Mapelo asks, are happy ending massages even legal in South Africa?
Yeah, they're legal.
Okay.
There's like there's a disclaimer that sex or sex work is not requested or bargained for or paid for, and that anything that happens between two consenting adults is legally protected.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's as far as I understand, it's decriminalized. It's not illegal. So it's a great question though. It's a question I've definitely been asked before. So I went into this journey feeling like I could expand and deepen the relationship I had to my work. And when I came out of that journey, I ended up watching a documentary about a week later called "The Wisdom of Trauma." It's a documentary by Gabor Mate.
Okay.
And it sent me on this journey of basically developing my own skills in terms of the therapy that I do. So I started studying.
I just want to interrupt you because I think there's a lot of the stuff that you're talking about now that's actually very trendy at the moment. And I don't mean that as a put down. I mean, like, a lot of people in the 2020s are interested in expanding their mind, in experiencing different things, in putting their guard down, coming to terms with stuff that might have happened when they were a child, even genetic memories that they think they're carrying, and maybe they are. I don't know about that stuff, but certainly the ayahuasca and the plant medicine that you're talking about, it's become a very big thing. There's
much.
a lot of it going on. If people don't know, in Johannesburg, Cape Town, Durban, I mean, across this country, there are lots of people doing it, whether it's legal or not, whether they're technically people going to arrest you for it or not, completely unimportant. This is happening and people are into it.
For sure. Yeah, it's happening. It's happening all over. I'd say like the disclaimer that I would put on ayahuasca or on any plant medicine journey is that, a lot of people are going in with this, like a Western medical mindset of there's something wrong with me that needs to be fixed, rather than there's something innate that needs to be healed. And I think there's a very big difference. So if people are going in thinking, okay, I'm going to drink ayahuasca and it's going to fix me, you might as well be doing heroin. Honestly, I truly believe that. I truly believe that if you're not going to prepare correctly and integrate after, and you're not going to do the hard work, the consistent daily practices that help to improve your life, it's kind of a waste of time.
Okay, so if someone who's listening to this is going, look, I've tried everything. I've tried getting my head right with a shrink. I've tried getting my body right in the gym. I've tried spiritual adventures in organized religion. I've tried, other kinds of spiritual journeys. This is maybe something I want to do. Would you recommend it for everybody, or do you think it depends entirely on the person?
Are we talking about ayahuasca or
the whole thing, the ayahuasca, the tantric work, the massage? Some people are terrified of being touched.
Oh, absolutely.
You get those people who are just not comfortable with it. I've got friends who they will not go for a massage.
Well, it's very interesting that like the thing I would ask someone who's afraid of being touched is, I'd want to find out where that comes from.
I'd say, show me on the doll where the bad man touched you, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But
yeah.
I find that bizarre. I don't understand why. There must be some kind of upset at some point in their life, because I think being touched is perfectly normal, natural. Most people actually respond very well to touch and should.
Yeah.
It's the foundation of a lot of relationships.
Yeah. If someone wasn't touched a lot as a child, or if they were touched inappropriately,
put in a cage maybe, or
put in a cage, then they might have an aversion to touch. And so we'd want to work with that.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say that, going back to your earlier question about who should do this, who should do something like ayahuasca, for example. Ayahuasca is a really special thing because it's one thing I never recommend. I'd say like if you're thinking of doing it, like you should do it, and you don't have to call her; she'll call you.
Okay.
Whereas things like,
by the she, you mean the plant?
I mean the plant. Yeah.
Okay.
The thing I would recommend to everybody is breath work.
Okay.
Okay. What is that exactly?
Yeah, let's go there. So this morning, ladies and gentlemen, your breath work begins, and Simphiwe, you get a free massage at the end of this.
Happy ending.
Simphiwe suddenly like, whoa, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah, I would lie. Like, I hear you speak and I'm like, and then at the back of my mind is like, this is very culty. Hey, this is how a lot of cults start.
100%. I'm
involved
in many cults.
Let's talk about breath work, because this is actually this is foundational. We can get to all the other stuff after you've got this right.
The great thing about breath work is that, as Terence McKenna used to say, you're always carrying. You have the breath with you. You can do breath work anytime, any place. You don't need a drug. You don't need a special setting. You can just change the way you breathe.
Okay.
So one of the powerful things that breath work does, that relates specifically to the work that I do, which is really about getting people to connect more deeply with their bodies, or to reconnect with their bodies. And we can talk more to why people become disconnected in the first place.
Sure.
But the thing that breathwork does is that it connects what's happening in the mind with what's happening in the body. So if you're
this is why people who meditate focus on the breathing.
Exactly. Yeah. It brings you into the present moment.
Right.
And that's sort of like the one aspect of breathwork. The other aspect of breathwork is that it helps to regulate the nervous system. Okay. Nervous system dysregulation is it's the cornerstone of all trauma. Anything stressful or traumatic that happens to you affects your nervous system. So when you breathe, when you take deep, slow breaths, you're telling your nervous system that there's no danger present. That your nervous system is when you go into the fight or flight mode, it's because your nervous system, your body is under the impression that there's a danger present. So you get an email that stresses you out, but your body is under the impression that there's a lion trying to eat you, right? So people who suffer from, say, insomnia, who can't sleep very well, they say like, why can't I sleep? I was like, well, if there was a lion in this room, in your bedroom, do you think you'd be able to close your eyes and nod off? It's like, no, of course not. Like, you're under the impression that there's a danger present. But
any of us know that if you just concentrate on your breathing for like 5 seconds, and you realize how shallow your breaths are, how you are maybe hyperventilating if you're worried about something without even realizing it. All of this stuff is happening because we don't pay attention to our breath. And when we do, then suddenly we realize, oh, wow, I'm not healthy right now.
Yeah,
you
100%.
take a nice deep breath, and people say this. They go, stop, take a deep breath, and you do, and you actually feel better. I mean, your cells need oxygen. This is not a mystery.
Yeah, this is exactly right. The way we breathe really shows us where we are in our minds and where we are in our nervous systems. When we breathe shallow and we're sitting still, it's like we're breathing the same way that we would be breathing if we were sprinting.
Yeah.
If we were running away from something or fighting against something, we'd be breathing that way. So to take control of the breath, we hear a lot about like, oh, you need to be present, you need to like be focused on the present moment, and sort of what that means, or the way to do that is through the breath. Yeah.
All right. So you start off with that stuff, and then you get people to take their breathing seriously, which I think many of us do not. And it immediately improves everything.
Literally immediately. But then from the moment.
Okay. So from there, I mean, would you recommend that everybody goes for massages? I mostly go when I've hurt something.
Yeah.
When there's a muscle that's not doing what it should be doing, or there's some kind of misalignment, or I've pulled something in the gym or whatever. That's okay. But actually, I'm sure you're going to tell me that it's a good idea to go for these all the time.
Yeah, I'd say that
not just because you want to make money.
Well, yeah, no. I'd say there's like two ways we can think about this. So when we think about a massage that's for realigning the body, or if you've got an injury or a niggle here and there, right? There's a good reason to go. That's a good reason to go for a massage.
Sure.
But I'd say that's sort of a surface level thing. You're dealing with symptoms. You're treating symptoms. You can say like, oh, I slept funny,
right?
Or I pulled something at the gym. But there's a deeper way to look at it, which is to say that whatever pain I'm experiencing in my body is a message my body is trying to send me. And it's not about the thing that triggered the pain. It's about something deeper. It always is. I always ask people this question when they come to me it's like, oh man, I slept funny last night. I say, have you ever slept funny on a beach holiday?
No.
Like, no. Like, okay, what's happening at work? What's happening in your relationships?
That makes sense.
And there's always something. There's always something immediate that's like, oh, you know what? I just had a fight with my girlfriend, or I just received this bad review at work. And it's like, okay, well, there we go. That's what's really happening here.
See, Simphiwe. It's way deeper than we think.
Yeah, but we can take that.
I just thought it was just like the Egyptian cotton that I didn't have.
So you get people who probably have. No, I'm sure you get people who have the most luxurious bed available to humankind, 100%. And memory foam pillows up the yin yang, and like Princess and the Pea stuff, where like you've got 100 mattresses, and those people still have problems.
100%.
Right.
So we can actually even take that another level deeper and say, okay, so now we know that the thing that triggered the pain is this stress in your work life or your relationship, or right? And then we can ask another question that's even deeper than that. So what's happening in your body? What is the sensation you're feeling in your neck, right? This pain. You're talking about pain, but pain is just an interpretation. The truth is there's a sensation that's deeper than pain. Maybe it's a level of discomfort, and we want to ask more questions about the discomfort. So I'd ask a question like, when was the first time in your life you felt that sensation in your body? And almost immediately, someone will be able to say, wow, I was 5 years old and the following happened to me. Or I was 10 years old and my father said this, or my mother said that.
Sure.
And brings you back to the original trauma.
How long are your sessions? Yo, sure.
I mean, that's like a 5-minute conversation.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You said that when you came in this morning, you already took a cold plunge at God knows what time, right? Like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So I think that a lot of this cold plunge thing is very trendy at the moment.
Yeah,
people are doing it because everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
And they say there are tremendous advantages to this. What does it do for you?
It helps with a bunch of things. So the cold plunging helps with the nervous system again, to flush the nervous system. It helps with inflammation. It helps with sleep. It helps with blood circulation. But I'd say that this is the most important thing about cold plunging. Can I swear on this show?
Yeah, you can.
Awesome. Okay, it's fucking difficult. It's difficult every time.
Yeah.
It never stops being difficult. So a mutual.
So you never get used to the coldness of the water.
You never get used to it, never, which is a good thing. So if a mutual friend of ours, Hanan, speaks about this in the work that he does.
You know Hanan, there we go.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody.
So I can actually take whatever he says seriously now.
Well,
Like,
Hanan
he's
will come in on
certified.
Monday and say, this guy's talking complete shit. And then we have no massive overlap. But yes,
So he
it's
speaks
hard.
about,
It's difficult to do.
He speaks about separating the psychological state from the emotional state.
Yes.
Okay, this is like the whole goal of therapy is to separate these states out. So my emotions, everyone's emotions are lying to them all the time. What we feel is not always true. So I can be standing next to my cold plunge and my brain is saying, don't do this. It's going to be cold. You're going to die. And I know that's not true. And so in order to separate out the psychological state from the emotional state, I don't argue with myself. I don't reason with myself. I just hear what myself has to say and say, okay, it's like a screaming 2-year-old. I don't try to reason with the toddler. I just give it love and I get in the cold plunge anyway. So I get in, it's difficult. I get out when I'm finished, not when it gets too difficult. I just get out when I'm finished. And I've taught myself for that day, okay, I can do difficult things. I like to look at myself in the mirror afterwards and I have a big smile. I go, good job, Joshy, you did it. You did it.
All right, that's the positive reinforcement that you need, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about the idea of this tantric stuff, because that's what Simphiwe is most interested in.
Brilliant.
I think most of the questions so far have been about that. Mapelo says, who are you touching? Who's touching you? How does it all work? So let's get straight to it.
Okay, fantastic. So and I'm going to refer back to the ABA, Hanan's work one last time. That one of the things that we deal with in psychology is this idea of core beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So a core belief is basically like an operating system that works in your subconscious mind. The example that he likes to give, then I'll give today, is imagine you're a child and you're bitten by a dog.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You'll then develop a core belief that all dogs are dangerous. So that belief is there to basically keep you to help you survive. But we want to shift those beliefs, right? So we have core beliefs around the way we're loved, the things that help us to survive, and we might have core beliefs around our sex and our sexuality that is laden with shame and guilt and self-judgment and fear.
Would I be right to say that, especially in South Africa, we're very conservative? By and large, people are raised to think very conservatively about things like sex and sexuality. Obviously, we're a product of our overall global environment, and things have changed in that environment. People are a lot more open-minded. They're a lot more permissive, perhaps, in the opinion of some. But South Africans, by and large, are quite uptight sexually.
I'd agree with that. And you're actually touching on a really important point, because it's not just, say, sexual trauma, things that happen to us physically that create, say, a traumatic or adverse belief around sex. It's when we talk about people being uptight or conservative, we're talking about conditioning. And conditioning is just as traumatic as a sexual abuse. For me personally, my what I would term my sexual trauma is more conditioning than actual physical abuse. In fact, I'll tell you the thing that happened to me that was the most traumatic from a sexuality point of view in my life. I overheard a conversation between a child and a camp counselor when I was, say, I think around 13 years old. I wasn't even involved in the conversation. And I heard the camp counselor tell the child that masturbation or spilling the seed was akin to murder. And I was already
Holy
confused
shit.
sexually. I was already trying to figure these things out. And just hearing that phrase sent me in a downward spiral for the next decade of my life.
First of all, if that camp counselor is still around, dude, you got a major problem, and you should not be handing that problem on someone else. And poor Josh, who walked past, look how you ruined his life. He could have done something completely different, but you've sent him into a spin. Okay.
So back to core beliefs. So the way that we look at shifting core beliefs is we look at the way the core belief was instilled in us in the first place. It's through experience. There's no amount of mantras or affirmations that are going to change the way that we believe about something.
Right.
Well, that is not a sentence in English.
It doesn't matter. I know what you mean.
Okay,
it's okay. We're all friends.
We all just woke up.
It's just the three of us in this room. No one else
is listening. It's all good.
So what we want to do in Tantric Touch is we want to create an environment that is opposite to the one in which a person was traumatized in the first place. So number one is choice and consent. Okay. So
you have to say to the person, listen, are you okay with this? And then they have to say, are you okay with this?
Well, it goes even further than that. Okay. So the way that I work now, and the way I've been working for the last couple of years, and this has changed over time, but this is the way I work now, is that my boundaries are very, very, very strict. There is absolutely no reciprocation whatsoever between myself and a client. That the space is for them and for their experience only. This is very, very important. It wasn't like that at the beginning, years ago, but I've learned, and things have shifted for me in my life. And I've had experiences that, well, people can have experiences where their desires overwhelm their boundaries, and they have a good time, and then later they have regret. So this is something we want to avoid entirely. So
I think just about every person
100%
in the world knows what that means.
100%. So we start with
boundaries must
setting.
be respected.
Boundaries are number one. Once you set your boundaries, once your boundaries are established, and that's a skill in and of itself. Teaching someone how to say no or how to say yes, like being able to communicate what your needs are and what your boundaries are is a huge skill that most people just don't have.
Right.
So we want to learn that first and foremost. Once we've done that, we can then move to desire and intention. Like, what is it you do want to experience, and why do you want to experience it? So we're setting up a dynamic where the person who has been abused in the past, where their power was taken from them, now has ultimate power. They're completely in control in the way that matters, not in the way that we all want to be in control.
Okay.
But in the way that actually matters. They have consent. They have choice. And so that's the first place to start, to empower the person to make a decision for themselves.
And then straight to the fapping.
And
you put it like that, Gareth.
From there, we.
No. I understand. So far, you're making a lot of a lot of sense. I'm just thinking there are probably people who are listening to this now going, and then, and what happened?
When
and
did
what
you touch me
happened?
already?
Yeah. Right, exactly.
So we also want to work with the history of the person. So I want to know what happened and how it's affected them. What beliefs have they developed around the trauma that they suffered? What's happening in the body? What is happening at the level of the body? This is the most important thing for me. Trauma, which I'll give a quick definition of what trauma is and what it isn't. It's very important to understand that, like, just from a physiological perspective, what trauma actually is. Trauma is a stress when you have a stressful situation, and that stress produces chemicals in your body like norepinephrine, adrenaline, and cortisol, the stress chemicals, right? So your body is producing chemicals to help you in fight or flight.
Right.
And what happens is you're too young or too small or too weak, and you can't fight back and you can't run away. So those chemicals get stuck in your body. You go into freeze mode, and basically you get stuck in survival mode this whole time. So what tends to happen if you can't, if you don't have someone who can help you regulate these emotions to help you work through this stressful event, then your body basically stays in that survival mode the whole time. You're always on edge, constantly. And every time you're in a similar situation, whether it's a sexual situation or a different kind of situation, you're ready to fight back. You're ready to run away. And we get stuck in that loop. So one more thing happens. Okay. In order to cope with this as a young person, you need to get out of your body. So where do you go? What's the only place that you have available to you if you're not in your body? It's your head. So we start to separate our minds and our bodies. So what we want to do in this process is we want to return to the body. And by returning to the body, we're returning to the emotions, to the chemicals that are stuck in the body, and we can then start to process them out.
Wow.
So before we ever get to actually working with someone's genitalia, we're working with the parts of their body that are stuck, the parts that are in tension. So we might do a deep tissue massage before we do, say, a tantric touch massage, allowing the body to start to open up and to release these stuck emotions.
Okay.
But
we got lots of questions too. I mean, I'm sure we haven't finished with this, but there are a couple of other interesting things that that you do, and you don't believe in like straightforward relationships with one girl.
No, I don't.
So you
I mean, it's not that I don't believe in them.
Monogamous. Is that the right term?
I'm
polyamorous.
Polyamorous.
Okay, so how does that work? What are we talking about here? Right at the moment, Josh, how many people are there in your life, emotionally, physically?
Putting me on the spot, yeah.
No, I think this is important. I'm sure they. Four.
Yeah.
But they all know about each other, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Everyone knows about everyone. Most people are friends.
You don't ever have them in the same room, though. All four.
All four? No. That's my greatest dream / nightmare.
Okay, so these are four girls.
Yeah.
And they all know that they're not the only one.
I'm not the only one either.
It's like an episode of The Bachelor.
except all the ladies on The Bachelor only have one guy.
Okay, so these girls might also have other guys,
Yeah.
and you're okay with that too.
Yeah, So this is great.
Sounds like a recipe for STDs.
Well, safety is very important. But I'd say there's no. You asked a question that I'd like to pull this thread of.
Sure.
Am I okay with it? So
No. I ask it because that's what most guys are thinking.
100%. But this is it's such a valuable question, because jealousy and insecurity is they're natural human emotions.
Yeah.
And they're a natural part of all relationships, not just polyamorous ones. But the difference, I believe, in polyamory is that jealousy and insecurity are welcome. Like, if I have a partner who's seeing someone else and it makes me jealous, they didn't really make me jealous. They've triggered my jealousy. There's a big, big difference. I'm responsible for that emotion. And that emotion doesn't come from this, from this interaction. It's coming from a much deeper place. It's coming from a fear of abandonment or a fear of rejection that has nothing to do with my partner. It has something to do with my childhood, or something that's happened to me a long time ago. So if I'm jealous, it's like, okay, I'm feeling jealous. My jealousy I notice jealousy arising in my body. Where do I find it in my body, and how can I work through it? How can I process this emotion? And it's like
sounds like a lot of I mean, if I was being flippant and unkind, I'd say it's like endless navel gazing, endless dealing with your feelings and emotions, endless introspection. It sounds exhausting.
Honestly, it's exhausting maybe at the beginning. When you're learning to process emotions, it can be quite difficult. But Sam Harris gives this example in his in meditation of what he calls the half-life of emotion. So imagine you get cut off in traffic and you get angry and you're pissed off for a week. Right? Yep. Well, that's really no good. That's too long.
That's very bad.
Imagine you work through how to process your emotions. You work through being present, and all of a sudden, the next time you get cut off in traffic, which is bound to happen again,
sure,
that the half-life of that anger is an hour.
That's
and
still
then
long.
it's 5 minutes.
Do you think it's possible
And then eventually
to
it's-
have a half-life that's too short for those emotions?
Well, no, because the thing is that like when you get cut off in traffic, for example, you can ask yourself this question. You can ask now, like, is the anger that you're experiencing reasonable and useful in that moment?
Obviously not.
Obviously not. Well, what if someone was right up in your space and they were threatening you physically? Do you think that anger would be useful and reasonable?
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes those emotions are useful. Sometimes
Great,
they're reasonable.
great dispensing of wisdom here, Simphiwe. You thought you'd just be hearing about, genital manipulation. But look at this. There's some good stuff.
So ultimately, like when we like anger and jealousy or sadness or grief or happiness, they're all just emotions.
And they have a place, but you don't need to judge them as good or bad.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
Because people go, jealousy's so bad.
Yeah.
But obviously you got to be jealous about the things you care about. Otherwise you don't really care about them. But it's what you do with that matters.
100%.
I recently learned this, I don't know if it's a saying or quote, but it says, you're entitled, your feelings are always valid, right? But your actions are not. So they put the onus on what you do with how you're feeling in that moment, as I can judge you, there are consequences, but how you feel, if I'm angry, you can't tell me nothing. Like you cut me in traffic, I'm angry, but like if I then go swear at you for the next hour, that's unacceptable.
100%. Your thoughts and your feelings arise without your permission, without your knowledge, and you have no control over them whatsoever. The only part of the process you have any control over is your action. And so 100%. You are responsible. When people hear the word responsible and they remove it and they replace it with the word blame. Who's responsible for this? They're like, no. You're asking who's to blame, and I don't care who's to blame. It's totally unimportant. Responsible means the ability to respond. So that's the only thing that matters. That's the only way to empower yourself. Like if you're looking to blame someone, I mean, you're probably just projecting out anyway. It's a fundamental law of physics that anything you feel about someone else is actually how you feel about yourself.
Absolutely. It's called projection, right?
100%.
Okay. To go back to the drugs quickly, because I think that's another thing. Drugs are good. Okay, so let's just talk about this for a second.
Kids.
What kinds of drugs have you experimented with? Which do you partake in regularly? And what are the differences between them? And we can have an adult conversation about this.
Sure. This is, I really love this question because drugs are great. Okay, so I'll just quickly rattle off the ones that I've done, and then we can discuss them. Okay, I've obviously drank alcohol in my life.
Okay.
Sure.
Although
very popular drug in this
very
country.
Popular drug.
And we tend to classify it separately.
Drugs and alcohol. That's such good marketing. Well done, alcohol companies.
Yeah.
Really good marketing. So I've drank alcohol in my life, but I don't drink. And not because I've had a problem with alcohol. I don't like it. I don't like the taste, and I don't like the effect.
Okay.
I've had a problem with cannabis. I'm sober from cannabis. I don't smoke cannabis at the moment. Or I'm not.
Did you
sure
just were you addicted? You're just doing it way too much.
For sure.
Okay.
We can talk more about what addiction is and what it isn't. It's a fascinating conversation, but we'll get back to that. I have done ayahuasca. I've done mushrooms. I've done mushrooms ceremonially. I've obviously drank ayahuasca, like I said. I've taken acid a bunch of times. Ooh. That was my introduction into psychedelics. That was sort of like, as Aldous Huxley calls it, the doors of perception. The doors of perception were open for me when I was around 27, and I took acid for the first time with a bunch of friends on a mountain in Michalisburg.
Sure.
That was one of the most extraordinary experiences of my life. I didn't know what was possible until then, and it wasn't the most spiritual experience. It wasn't it wasn't medicine. It wasn't intended to be medicine, but it really was. It really opened my eyes to.
But you were doing it at that stage. You were doing it recreationally, right?
Very much so.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've used MDMA.
Okay.
I'm sure there's some others like mescaline or San Pedro. MDMA is my favorite medicine. It's a medicine I use in my practice to do psychedelic assisted therapy. And they use it all over the world for treating complex PTSD and all sorts of trauma. It's the most extraordinary medicine. It's also a great medicine for couples who are looking to connect, and it's a lot of fun if you want to go out to the club. So this is the thing about drugs, or about all drugs. They're not good or bad. They're neutral. If you have a good intention and the right set and the right setting, and when we say set, people hear this term set and setting. Well, what does set mean? So setting is obvious; it's where you are. But a set is your mental set. Like what are you going in with mentally?
Okay.
What are your intentions?
And if you go in bad and you have issues, those things are going to be multiplied and manifest.
Yeah. Which can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing. If you're in a party setting and your trauma starts to come out and you've got no one
horrific.
that's horrific. You've got no one to help hold space for you, or you've got no one to help process that feeling, or you don't feel safe, then that's not good. Well, people say that, I don't smoke weed because it makes me paranoid. My first question is, what are the paranoid thoughts? Tell me all about them. Because they're not coming from outside. They're coming from inside. Oh, I'm worried about what people think of me. I'm like, yeah, you are worried about what people think of you. Let's talk about why.
Yeah.
Let's figure
Sort
that shit out
first. Yeah. It's not the drug's fault.
It's not the drug's actually doing exactly what it's meant to be doing.
But again, you have to have a certain, you say set, you have to have your faculties about you. Like, you don't just jump into these things.
No.
Because there are people who do just to escape the misery of their lives and to give themselves some kind of relief. And that's not always a good thing. In fact, it's very seldom a good thing, because what you're doing is you're just piling possibly more negative experiences on those already extant negative experiences.
You've just hit on the key difference between medicine as medicine and medicine as addiction.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So a couple of comments here from people. So first of all, Miggs wants to know about cocaine.
What does he want to know about cocaine?
Well, he says, have you done it?
No, I've never done cocaine. I don't have like a problem with it. I don't see it as good or bad. It just seems like something that would give me a lot of energy and make me very talkative. And if you've been here for the last 45 minutes, I don't need.
You don't need any more.
I've got plenty of energy. It just seems like I've never seen anyone do cocaine and not be a total douchebag. So
okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Slippery Pickle says the people doing the research were in fact the people doing the research regardless, Aldous Huxley. Sex, drugs, no pain, says Homotso Kung.
Sex, drugs, no pain. Pain is welcome. Pain is a teacher.
Oh, okay. Yes. There we go. The Real Network, when on ayahuasca, did you see machine elves and what were they doing? Did you have any crazy hallucinations of stuff that was entirely a vision that you had that no one else had?
Definitely. I mean, there are some common visions. I've never seen machine elves. I've seen snakes.
Machine elves.
I've seen snakes. I've seen I've seen a lot of different as if I was standing in a church and the stained glass windows were exploding in front of my eyes, like just bright colors, long lines, geometric shapes. I've seen that stuff. In my last ayahuasca journey, I was as the medicine was working, I was asking the medicine, okay, cool, we're in. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Do I need to do anything? And I received a message that was just be quiet and enjoy the fireworks.
Shut up.
And then there were fireworks. I mean,
really?
Yeah, I saw an Egyptian headdress explode in front of my face.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. In which area is Josh's practice? Here's Judas. She's coming for a treatment. I don't know which kind.
Well, we'll find out.
Okay.
I have an apartment near Melrose Arch where I practice. I'll give out more information at the end.
Okay, so here's Paul with a question. I don't know quite what to make of this guy. A sexually liberal high communist. Okay, you're not a communist.
Yes, definitely not.
Okay,
no.
So this is interesting too. So like in the notes, Josh is definitely opposed to woke ideology and leftism. Now that's interesting because you would think you would be exactly the kind of person to be into that. So explain the cognitive dissonance there.
Yeah, I'm super not into woke ideology. I find it to be a dangerous thing. Who said that the road to hell was paved with good intentions? I'm
not sure, but it's a good saying.
Yeah, I feel like that we as a society are in a little bit of danger, or a lot of danger. Like we're heading towards the edge of a cliff as far as this ideology is concerned. What was the question?
Well, I mean, my question then is how can you be as spiritual and into like libertarian and liberal ideas, but also not be a leftist?
Yeah,
I mean, I understand it, but I thought you should explain it yourself.
Yeah, I'd say like I'm classic liberal, so like I have liberal ideas, but I'm not far left. I think that that the way I think about it is that I prefer to work on my character than to work on my identity. I think that a lot of the leftist views are like if I sat here and I said I'm a straight white male, those are the three least interesting things about me. Those are totally irrelevant to who I am.
Don't say that. Sometimes that's the only thing we need to know about you.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly my point. It's like those characteristics. Those characteristics are totally unimportant to me. And I worry when people are so into their identifying characteristics as if it like it replaces a personality or personal development. And I see a lot of people on that side of things on the far left not taking responsibility for their lives or for their actions or for the things that happen to them, and that is sort of. Yeah, I maybe a lot of people in the spiritual community, maybe I don't know if this is true, because I don't encounter it all that much.
Okay.
I don't actually encounter a lot of woke people in the spiritual community. There's actually very, very few people like that in my world, because most of the people I do plant medicine with, or the people I work with in my practice, people are into taking accountability for themselves, and they're into personal development and ruthless introspection.
Well, Azalea says, nice compliment. I think Josh is just too far ahead of most people. Vutsako says, good for you, guy. Go woke, go broke. And a true liberal, Hameen says, believes in each to his own. Liberalism has been hijacked. And then I saw this comment, which you might want to address, from Sun Marie. She says, sorry, this poly setup is just not for me. I'm a proud, jealous person here. It's there to know when I step on the bitch's toes. Okay, well, I mean, it takes different strokes, right? Not everybody wants what everybody else has.
Monogamy is a sacred path. Poly is a sacred path. And celibacy is a sacred path. Each person should do what they want.
Figure out or like identify that monogamy might not be for you, and this is definitely the path for you.
I was 19 years old. I'd never dated anyone. I knew for sure I didn't want to be monogamous or get married or have kids. And I haven't had kids. And that might change at some point in my life. But I gave up all those other things in every relationship I was ever in, because I was convinced that no one would love me for who I am, for being exactly who I want to be, until very, very recently. Until very recently.
All right. So it actually came from a negative place in the beginning.
Oh, of course, 100%.
Okay.
Well, can I go back to that previous comment, because I want to just add something. So she's the woman said she was what was her name? Sun Marie. She said that she was proudly jealous. Okay, that's cool. I want to say something about monogamy as a path of like of a righteous path, because the thing about monogamy is that it can be a beautiful thing if you're coming into it from a place of I only want one person because that's what's going to fulfill me, as opposed to I only want one person because I can't stand the thought of my partner being with someone else. Right? Like, where are you coming at it from?
Yeah.
That's very important to me. And I think poly can go the other way as well. Like, you could be coming at it from a place of addiction or a place of lacking, or a place of, it doesn't have to come from a good place either. It can come from a bad place as well.
So Judas says, no. I don't want to go for a treatment. With all due respect to Josh, I've got Jesus as my drug, and
Hallelujah.
I like Thai massages. Just looking to know red flag areas. Okay, well, don't worry. He's not going to accost
Consensus
you
number
as you
one.
walk
Yeah.
past his apartment block and say, you're coming in for a massage.
The only difference between a Thai massage and a tantric massage is we just massage a few extra areas. That's all.
Okay, very good. Sanela says, forget the erections. This was a different and interesting interaction. Definitely broadened the horizon. And Patrick says, it's interesting because I also came from quite a dark place over 10 years ago, which led me to cannabis and mushrooms. Turned out changed my life, though I never take it if I'm in a bad space.
That's beautiful.
That's so he knows himself.
Yeah. But you see, because cannabis is medicine too, and he's using it as medicine.
Right.
Whereas my relationship with cannabis is
destructive.
It became destructive. I'd say it became a coping mechanism that basically everything else in my life was clouded by smoke. So I could get in the cold plunge, I could do my breath work, I could go to yoga, I could eat well, I could sleep well, I could have good relationships, but everything was clouded in the smoke.
Are you very particular about what you eat in terms of what you put into your body? You said you don't drink alcohol.
Yeah, I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink caffeine.
Oh, really?
And I don't eat sugar. I eat all my meals. Almost all my meals are home cooked. Yeah, I'm very, very particular about that stuff, and I'm very disciplined about it. And it hasn't been all that long since we're in May, and over a 4 or 5 year period of doing deep healing work, where things hadn't really landed for me. This year, I in the last four and a bit months, I have really allowed all the lessons that I've learned to really land. And the major difference, the biggest key, if anyone wants to know, like, what's the key to changing your life? Working according to a plan. That's number one. And along with that is consistent daily practice. Right? So
Anna Marie says, in my 50s, is it too late to try new things? It sounds like fun.
Come try.
Okay, and then Vyasan says, can you come for a tantric touch massage if you don't have any trauma?
I think everyone has trauma, but yes, of course, absolutely. So okay, but this
So
is
purely for
you
fun.
might discover that you have trauma when you're there.
It's a great question because there's two sides. There's two sides to tantric touch. The first, which we've discussed at length, is the pain or the trauma, but then there's the pleasure. So if I'm working through my trauma and I start to unlock my potential for pleasure, for connection, well, that's something we can explore in tantric touch as well. So we can explore a deepening of your relationship to pleasure. We can explore if you've so a lot of women come to me who've never experienced an orgasm before. And there's reasons for that.
It's like old John T that we used to have on the sex show.
Yeah.
He would help those women unblock
Yes.
those blockages.
And in the words of Dr. Mark, sex and having an orgasm is a learned experience.
Yes, it is.
I listen.
Sure,
Yeah.
you really do pay attention. It's like it's all coming together like a well-timed fuck. When it comes to these poly conversations, says Tracy, all I hear is I want, I like. It's all about me, me, me. It seems a selfish existence, free to an extent, but selfish.
Huh.
What do you think of that?
I think it's a very interesting perspective. I think that one, I don't think it's bad to be selfish. I think the more selfish you are, the more altruistic you are. The thing that feels best is when I do for others. When we do for others, it feels better than when I do for myself. And so if I'm doing that to feel good, that's selfish. And I couldn't think of anything less selfish than wanting to share my partners with other people and allowing people to live the life that they want to live to the fullest. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to think about here. Yeah. All right. Very, very good. You can find Josh on the internets.
You can find me on the internet. I'm on Instagram, Josh_talktouchbreath. And my website is talktouchbreath.co.za.
Pop that on screen, guys.
The easiest way to get hold of me is via WhatsApp or through my website.
Very good. All right, man. I think you've blown a lot of people's minds this morning. I think there are a bunch of people who are who probably entered this conversation very, very skeptical and probably thought, "Oh, this guy's a bullshit artist." Because I mean, there's a lot of nonsense out there,
There's
right?
a lot of nonsense.
Cult
out
leader, right?
Cult leader. Yes.
I'm not opposed to that.
So you're starting your own cult.
I mean, if I had $1 for every time we had this conversation about starting a cult, I think I'd have enough money to buy the compound.
Sure.
Well, you know what? Good luck with that. Just don't end up like the guys in Waco, Texas, who are like, well, there's a satellite coming past sometime soon. We all have to kill ourselves so we can hop on board.
Was that Waco?
I think it was Waco. It was the Branch Davidian cult with David Koresh.
Wasn't that in the Caribbean?
You're thinking of...
I'm thinking of the ones who drank the Kool-Aid.
They drank the Kool-Aid, which had been laced with poison. That's where Drink the Kool-Aid comes from.
Yeah.
Correct.
And apparently it wasn't even Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And Azalea says, South Africans are a highly traumatized society, so these conversations are necessary. It's part of freedom. I agree with you, Azalea. Spot on. All right, everybody. Thank you.
Wait.
There's more.
Because I think this is a great way to actually wrap up the show. And you even teased it. The New York couple.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Yes.
Are we watching a clip?
It's not a clip because copyrights, because it's music. But I can tell you basically what happened a few days ago, and this is what's trending on the socials. And I'd like to get your thoughts on it.
Okay.
There was a couple in New York City, in a park. They had a blanket covered, and they were getting their freak on.
In the park.
In the park. There are different angles. There are different videos. It happened.
Other people were filming them?
Yes, because they were like, I'm so traumatized. How could this happen? There are kids here, but no one called the police. I can tell you now.
Well, it's New York.
And it happened like throughout the day. So like
people were just relieved they had a blanket.
And I'm just like, what has society come to? Is this where we at as society, where people are getting their freak on in the park?
Wow. Well, for those who were offended by looking, don't look. First of all, just walk away. But to the couple, there's this thing called consent, and not everyone's consenting to watching you bang one out like
several times.
Several times. There's places you can go for that. Yeah, that seems very odd to me.
All I have to say is that's New York.
That
if you've ever been to New York,
that
place is insane. There are homeless people wearing loincloths, screaming at you on the subway. There are people who are climbing the wall like Spider-Man without the Spider-Man suit on. There are people who are drinking methylated spirits through bread. It is the most insane place in the world. I'm not surprised at all. If you want to live in a city like that, you got to take whatever comes at you, literally and figuratively. All right. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Simphiwe. Most especially thank you to you. We will see you on Monday. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Ciao.